Welcome to Dogs versus All Y'all, a weekly college football podcast where we discuss not only my favorite team, the Georgia Bulldogs, but we talk all things college football, hence all y'all. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and look us up on Instagram at SuplexDinnerClub. And go Dogs. We're live. What's happening, fellas? How y'all feeling?
Oh man, I'm feeling great. Happy to be back on.
We're
Same. Just another good talk about college football.
Hell yeah. All right, listeners, welcome back to another episode of Dogs versus All Y'all. On this episode, this is a special one, y'all. I got reinforcements. Once a month, we have our college football roundtable where we discuss some of the hot topics, I guess get some reactions from fans about this sport that we love, which is college football. So I'm very honored to have two returning guests of Suplex Dinner Club. Introducing first, the good brother, the big black supernova. He's representing the men of Troy, and he is also one of my co-hosts on All Marks Pod. So if you like wrestling, check us out. So, Brad, holler at the people, man. Let us know where can they find you.
Yes, Black Supernova. You know I'm at All Marks Pod. I am also at Heroes After Dark. It's a comic series on YouTube. Heroes After Dark. Check me out on Instagram, on YouTube, and All Marks Pod every Thursday morning.
Nice. So if you guys are into comic books, perfect YouTube to check out. They got some cool content over there. So shout out to those guys. And on my other side, I have my returning brother representing the Roll Damn Tide, the Crimson Tide of Alabama. He's got a little smoke for him, but he's still representing. What's happening, Eric? How you living, bro?
What's happening is I got some things I need to get off my chest with this team today. So we might have a good conversation. But other than that, we chilling, bro. It's just like I said, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Amen.
Indeed.
Yes, sir. I always like to start this off with a little icebreaker question to my guests. And today's question, gentlemen, I'm going to start off with you, Brad. What is the ugliest uniform in college football?
Ugliest uniform? Okay, so here's the thing.
Okay.
I kind of don't really mind the uniforms. I'm going to tell you what makes them ugly to me.
Okay.
And I know this is an elitist thing, but when you have anything other than Nike on your uniform, it makes the shit trash. The Adidas, the Under Armour, the Jumpman.
No love for the Under Armour?
It makes the shit trash. If it's not Nike,
take it out of here.
Amen.
Get it out of here.
All right. I feel that. Eric, what's your choice, man? What's the ugliest uniform?
I got two options. So like if we're talking like ugliest of all time, like alt uniforms, all that kind of stuff, that 2017 Florida Gators, like the gator skin one, where it just looked like they were straight up gators,
that was rough.
Ugliest looking pieces of trash that I have ever seen anybody put on. If we're talking regular uniforms, it's got to be the doo-doo orange Tennessee Vols uniforms.
Bow. We starting off with a shot.
Look,
shout out to our Tennessee listeners.
That's probably not the only smoke Tennessee gonna get this podcast, but yeah.
One uniform that I just have not gotten used to watching or looking at are the Wyoming home jerseys. Those It's like yellow and brown. It's just an ugly color palette. Like they're a good team. They're a solid team. Shout out to Josh Allen, but it's an ugly combo. So it's a pretty nasty combo. So those are our takes on the ugliest uniform of college football. All right, gentlemen, and also we always got to start off with a hot take. If Heisman voting ended today, who would win the Heisman Trophy? Eric, I'm going to go with you first.
Seeing who else is on this panel, they might disagree with me here, but I'm going to go with Michael Penix Jr. Kid's been killing it. He's got, almost 1,700 yards. He's got a 16-2 touchdown interception ratio. He's almost got a 94 QBR. I know Caleb still hasn't thrown an interception yet. He's only like one less touchdown away, but I don't know, man. I just think Phoenix, as it is right now, has just got it. He's just good. He's just good.
Yeah. It's a lot of that going on in the Pac-12 right now. A lot of that. All right, Brad, what's your pick, man? Who would win the Heisman?
You know I got to represent for the home team, and this is complete bias here. I'm going with Caleb Williams. Now, his numbers aren't as gaudy as Michael Penix Jr., which would be my most definite runner-up. But for him to come off a Heisman win, it still is clearly the best quarterback in the entire nation. And he's making it look effortless, and he's doing a lot of different things this year that you can tell is getting him ready for the pros. Calling out the plays, switching the plays around according to the defense, which is why I think he would be the Heisman. Also, it's so effortless for him. You give him a clean pocket, it's a wrap. Just like we had a fourth and 12. He got it right out to Brendan Rice, touchdown. It was easy money. So my pick is Caleb Williams.
I like that. I like both of your choices. But I gotta say it. I gotta do it. I believe.
All you have to do is believe.
And Bo Nix. The Pac-12, we've said it before, the Pac-12 has had some terrific quarterback performances, two of which that you guys have spoken about. Also, shout out to DJ Ongole in Oregon State. He's doing his thing and also making Dabo look kind of funny right now. Mm-hmm. Washington State's quarterback, Cameron Ward, he's cooking out there. Of course, we got to acknowledge Shador. I mean, if not for last weekend, my pick would have easily been Shador Sanders. Easily.
Indeed. Yeah.
But Bo has been on a roll, man. He's scoring points. He's scoring touchdowns. Throwing the ball, running it. He's entertaining. And if you count that Colorado game, because you have to, based on the ratings that are coming out, that was a huge high-profile game. One of which that I would probably argue that neither one of those guys, Penix or Caleb, have essentially been on national TV just yet. So that's the only reason why I'm giving Bo the advantage, because of that exposure. So if voting were to end today, my Heisman Trophy winner would be Bo Nix. Plus, I got to keep my narrative going because I've been consistent about this. So, I got to keep it going. So, we believe here. We are already through a third of the regular season. Do y'all even feel that way?
No, not at all. For me, no.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reason why I'm asking, But to set this up, we're already through a third of the regular season. We've had some huge games, some intriguing matchups, some huge upsets, and obviously we've had some overachievers and underachievers. So I want to ask you, Eric, starting off with you. Let's talk about the underachievers so far. And I'm going to you for a reason.
Well, okay, I have two.
Okay.
And again, with this panel, this might not be a great choice. Georgia is one.
Okay.
Even though you're undefeated, I think Bobo's play calling is kind of sus. Defense looks a little sus sometimes too. You'll get it together, but as of right now, the offense just looks stagnant. And it came alive. It came alive against UAB, but it's UAB.
Fair.
I think you'll be fine. But
yeah.
Just the turnover and everything that you've had the last 2 years, it's a little regressive, but you expect it. Now for the second one, Adrian, you've known me for a while. I feel like you and I are kind of along the same lengths with our teams. We're ride or die, but
Definitely.
But we're honest.
Absolutely.
So let's honestly talk about this shit show team that is the University of Alabama. If Nick Saban don't care, Nick Saban needs to get out. He needs to take his little headset off, set it down on the sideline somewhere, and he needs to walk his ass on out of Tuscaloosa, go down to Juniper, Florida with his little $15 million home, and he can chill down there. I want a coach that's actually interested in playing this game. On the sidelines, he is lethargic. He looks like he don't care anymore. That fire is not there, and I'm tired of it. Tommy Rees should have never stepped foot on a football field in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, or in that press box, or wherever his little dumbass sits. He needs to go on back to Notre Dame, and take Buckner with him. Just slide on back that way. And I had some smoke for Kevin Steele, but honestly, the defense ain't even that bad.
Doing his thing, yeah.
Defense ain't even that bad. So the only reason I think the defense looks kind of bad is because the offense can't sustain a drive long enough to keep them off the field for more than 5 seconds. Yeah. Don't know what's going on with this roster. This is the worst roster that I think that we have had constructed since maybe 2007. We don't have a true quarterback, although I do love Milroe. I've got the 4 we're supporting. I like Jalen, and he's the best that we have right now. But he's not great.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
The running back room, solid. I can't be mad at the running back room. Offensive line, and with all the talk that we have about they're so heavy, they're so big, they're so strong, they're so great. Swiss cheese, bro. Texas, they were just like, oh, you want a free shot? Here you go, bro. Like, what are we doing? We scored 13 points against USF. South Florida, it took us to the second half to score points. And that's after an hour rain delay in halftime. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah.
It's pathetic. It is absolutely pathetic. I told my friend who was a Georgia fan, and we decided that this year we were going to be civil to each other. Because last year it was rough. We were I mean, it was all jokingly, but
yeah, for sure.
We were kind of at each other's throats. I told him at halftime in the Ole Miss game, I said, I'm done. I'm done with this team. I will see you in 2024. We are done. I don't care. This team is ass cheeks. I am going to protect my peace this year. Because we block a punt, and I'm sitting here like, all right, 1st and goal on the 1 yard line, punch this bad boy in.
Let's go.
We got the momentum. It's over. Who the hell decides to line up in shotgun on 1st and goal from the 1 and snap the ball 15 yards over his head? Like, who is calling these dumbass plays? Because they need to get fired. They need to go. I can do coach's suggestion on Madden. I can do it better than Tommy Rees can apparently call these plays. And if Nick Saban saw that man line up in shotgun, he should have called timeout and been like, what the hell are we doing? What are we doing?
Right.
Turn around and hand that ball off to Jason McClellan and call it a day. Right. What are we doing?
That's a fact. Bro, that's a fact.
Yeah. I mostly agree with your rant. And, like you said, we're definitely very respectful to each other. We talk a little trash here or there. But one thing that I've noticed about Alabama this year, they just seem very disjointed.
Yeah.
Like the whole benching of Jalen Milroe, that still doesn't sit right with me. That was super weird. And even though, yes, they were in damn near a hurricane down there, the way that offensive line played against USF, that's concerning, man. You should just win just being Alabama and against 90% of your schedule. Just like how I say the same thing about Georgia.
The worst part is they kept saying, out of the 121 qualified teams, USF's defense ranked at 121 last year. And I'm like, oh, cool. So that basically means our fans in the stands could come in and should be able to score 30 points against these fools. But our starting offense can't get a ball past like a 3-yard gain. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And the whole Milroe benching, I agree. Something's not right. Something
right.
with the words that Nick Saban has used about, I promised all 3 quarterbacks they'd get a shot. They did.
That's weird.
I don't buy
it.
I don't buy it.
Nick Saban. I've never heard him say anything like that.
It leads back to when we had that competition in 2014 with Blake Sims and Jake Coker. They were like, yeah, both quarterbacks will see the field. Blake came out, did Blake's thing. Coker never saw the field until next year. So
right.
Something's not right. And I don't know what it is, and I don't know how to fix it right now. If that team that showed up in the second half shows up for the rest of the year, I'm okay. Right. But if the team that showed up for the last 8, 9, 10 quarters, from the start of the Texas game to halftime at Ole Miss shows up, we ain't got nothing to talk about for the rest of the year because this team's going nowhere fast. I'll see you at the Tax Slayer Bowl.
Brad, what you got, man? Who's underachiever so far?
As I sit and I look at the top 5, I got to go with Ohio State, man. Like, what are they doing? What are they doing? And what is the AP hanging on to that they're still top 4 team in the nation?
Facts.
I mean, Washington's better than Ohio State right now. You can make a case for Florida State being better than Ohio State right now. You can make a case for Florida. Wait, what did I say? Florida. I said Washington.
Oh, okay. Washington.
Florida State. And, Washington, Florida State. And I'll even throw a wild card. Penn State possibly is looking better than Ohio State at this moment. What are we hanging on to? They're getting the best players in the nation, and they barely scraped by Notre Dame. And I get it. Notre Dame's a tough team this year, but that game was more so gagged by Notre Dame's coach than it was won convincingly by Ohio State.
10 players, man. 10 players. I don't know how he did it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what are we hanging on to? They gagged against Georgia on the field goal. They don't have a QB. Their running game looks suspect. Yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr., is that what we're hanging on to?
It's got to be the name recognition. That's the only thing I can think of.
That's fair, man. That's fair. My underachievers, I gotta definitely say, I hear you, Eric, on Georgia, but I would counter that by saying, if anything Georgia related that I'm disappointed in so far in watching the games and everything is the consistency of the defense.
Agreed.
And mainly the line of scrimmage. That's really been something that Georgia has hung their hat on. That's what won us that first national championship, dominating the line of scrimmage against y'all.
Yep.
And then going into that second natty, it's been a thing where we had a Jalen Carter, we had a Jordan Davis, we had a Devontae Wyatt. Mm-hmm. We're still looking for that consistent player, that game wrecker on that line. Should have been Bear Alexander. I'm probably saying it probably should have been Bear Alexander.
Yeah.
But we don't have him anymore. So one of those guys got to step up. That would be one of those underachievers that I would throw out there. Another underachiever, and probably the biggest one for me, Clemson. Hands down, Clemson. You not only get beat by Duke, you get bullied by Duke, and you quit versus Duke. For those people who watched that game, the second half, that was an ugly one. And that's something
for sure.
Yeah, that's something that we wouldn't expect of a Dabo coach team. I know I make fun of him all the time, and a lot of other fans make fun of some of the crazy stuff that he says, but when it's said and done, his team quit in that game. And they had a shot at beating Florida State last weekend. It was a really good game, competitive game. But it was a lot of mismanagement, and their offense isn't clicking, especially considering they brought Garrett Riley. They brought Lincoln's little brother in to run that offense. That was supposed to be the cure-all. And right now, they're not in contention for the ACC, which is crazy as hell to me. I would have thought at the very least.
Because that should be there.
Exactly. Or they're going back and forth with Florida State, running it back at the ACC title to see who wins that. But now you got to depend on Florida State losing 3 games. And you got to depend on Duke losing 2 or 3 games so you can actually make it. So Tax Slayer Bowl may be Clemson. I don't know if Alabama's going to be in it, but I know Clemson may be in it, man.
We'll run it back with Clemson.
Well, at least Bama loss is to Texas, and Texas is steadily, rising up the chart. If Texas stay in that top 3 and you guys continue to find a way to win, it doesn't look as bad.
No,
you lost to a top 3 team in the nation.
And SEC schedule just started. We half dominated the game that Lane kind of just gave up on it in the second half.
He definitely quit.
I don't know what we were doing there, but whatever. I guess trying to make the resume look good for next year when he's our head coach.
That's a hot take.
I got a lot of those. But I agree with you. That Florida State Clemson game, outside of that last 3 minutes, was a fantastic game, but there was so much clock mismanagement on both sides.
Definitely. Florida State should have went on and won it in regulation, but they seemed so rushed and it seemed like they were a fish out of water. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that level of calmness that you would expect of someone that's going to make a playoff run. So
with Travis hurt, it kind of, you wonder how much that plays into it.
True, very true. All right, so let's talk about the overachievers. I'm gonna start with you, Brad. What team, what player can you focus on and saying he or they have overachieved so far?
Man, you just mentioned his name, Bear Alexander. Man, he's been a wrecking ball for our defensive line, and you can tell the guys that we got from the SEC play a whole different style of football from the Pac-12. Marshawn Lloyd, he's a violent, aggressive runner, man.
I like him.
Yeah.
He is a beast. And Bear Alexander, forget about it. Forget about it. Listen, he's my favorite defender in the nation right now. That kid, man, listen. Oh my gosh, he's a beast, man. He's a bear. That's exactly what it is. He gets after it. And it seems like he's a leader on that line. They're blowing up plays. I feel a lot more confident at the end of the game when Bear is out there, and I know he's going to at least give it 1,000% effort. If we don't make the play or whatever happens, that's fine. But this year, I can rest my hat in confidence that line is aggressive. They're attacking. We got Anthony Lucas from Texas A&M.
Yeah, I like him.
It just motivated guys. It just motivated guys that was previously on the team to step their game up, man.
Yeah.
So I got to go overachiever right now. Bear Alexander, he's going to be a first-round defensive lineman. Mark my words.
I feel that. Eric, what you got? Overachiever.
It's hard to argue that Colorado is still not an overachiever. It's still really hard to argue it. They come out and they beat a top 25 team week 1. They cleaned Nebraska's clock because Nebraska apparently forgot how to play football for the last 20 years. Adversity at Colorado State, overcame it even with Travis Hunter being hurt. And I mean, they got their clock cleaned against Oregon, but they've still won 2 more ball games than they won a whole year ago. Not to mention, the 46 scholarship players that transferred out and the rest of them that quit on the team. Prime's still working with a cobbled together squad. It's just, I still think it's hard to argue. And in terms of players, Shador, I don't think any of us saw Shador coming out and just absolutely dominating the league. Outside of, again, Bo leaving in Oregon.
Right. But before that, I meant the dude damn near already threw for 1,000 yards. He's putting up numbers.
absolutely, like video game numbers, like Miami versus Denver numbers. But it's just hard to argue with anything that Colorado not being an overachiever right now.
Yeah, I feel that. My overachiever is South Carolina, but mainly Spencer Rattler. Like, I know they lost against North Carolina in the opener. I know they lost against Georgia. But if you look at those games with Spencer Rattler, the dude is wheeling and dealing, Plus, he's getting his head kicked in while doing it because their offensive line is trash. He got sacked like 8 times in the first week. And, if I want to say he has the highest passing rating in the SEC currently, in my opinion, he's performed as the best quarterback in the SEC. So maybe that's speaking a little bit more on SEC play versus anything, but the dude has been balling out, man. The dude's been balling out, and especially when you think about his story of him getting benched at Oklahoma, an undefeated Oklahoma team. He got benched, even though Caleb was better in retrospect. But the dude got benched, transferred, came to a used tire of a program in South Carolina, and has actually won some games. And going into this year, where we all thought they're an afterthought, whatever, South Carolina, he's actually putting up numbers and competing. Is he winning all the games? No, but he's competing. So I would definitely say Spencer is my overachiever so far in the season.
Shane keeps that Beamer ball, keeps it true to form because they always have them good quarterbacks, but nobody to block for them. So it's true Beamer ball right there.
It's rough. But speaking of elite quarterback play, next thing we got to talk about, we got to give some shine to the Pac-12 conference. In their final year of existence, they have blessed college football with some terrific performances, some classic games, and some wonderful matchups. I remember growing up, Pac-12 After Dark was a big thing. If you were a college football fan, you were watching ESPN at 10 o'clock to watch those West Coast games, or what grew into Fox Sports. That's what I remember. A lot of USC games were on Fox Sports. We used to watch that. Now, in their final year, we're getting some of the best consistent football and best performances from the quarterback position in that conference. So since he's our resident Pac-12 guy, I'm going to let Brad talk to the people. Why is the Pac-12 must-see TV?
The style of the Pac-12. When it comes to the passing of the ball and the style of the recruits they have, this has always been a thing with Pac-12 quarterbacks. Some of the biggest quarterbacks in the NFL has came out of the Pac-12, and some of the best receivers and different things have came out of the Pac-12 in college football. So I think it's just a culmination of what they've always been, that West Coast offense, a lot of great quarterbacking, receiving, things of that nature. You have Washington, you have USC, you have Oregon, you have Utah, Washington State, Oregon State. You have a lot of good teams in the Pac-12, and it's going to be an SEC-like dogfight to the finish line. Also, we're going to call it what it is. The landscape of college football has changed with the transfer portal, right? So you got a lot of kids transferring out west, going out west, taking some of those initial offers they had because maybe something didn't work out for them in Georgia, or something didn't work out in Alabama, or something didn't work out at, in Ohio State or one of the bigger schools, and they're at a Washington State, they're at an Oregon State, they're at a Cal, they're at UCLA. We can't forget about UCLA. Right now they have two of the most dominant defensive linemen in college football. So it's a lot going on then. We got Rashada went out west. Oregon's cleaning up on the recruiting trail. UCLA got what's the quarterback name? I forget the kid's name, but they got him as well. So I just think it's a combination of the consistency of what the Pac-12 philosophy is, coupled with the landscape changing of college football. But yes, all these games have been must see. It's now no longer let's pay attention to USC to see if they make it to compete with everybody else. Now, like I said, you got the Michael Penix, you got the Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, you got DJ over there at Oregon State. And Rashad is going to be coming up too, but the Pac-12 is going to be disbanded by that. But I hope the Pac-12 goes out with a huge bang. USC wins the national championship. Of course, I hope. But it's great television for sure. It's definitely great television.
All right, Eric, what are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts on the Pac-12?
It's absolutely insane this year. Like right now, as it stands, my top 5 Heisman candidates are all from the Pac. Like,
that's crazy, ain't it?
You sit here and you think about it. 9 times out of 10, there's at least 3 SEC guys. You know, throw an Ohio State, throw an Oklahoma, Texas. You know, something like that in there. But like, legitimately, I've got my top 5 are all Pac-10 or Pac-12 quarterbacks, and I never would have thought about it. And I mean, you know, we were talking about underachievers too, and the quarterback play in the Pac-12. Look at what Utah's done. Without Cam Rising.
Without their guy. Exactly.
Yeah, like they've been running the second and third string quarterbacks for the majority of the year so far, and still undefeated. They beat an SEC team. Like, without their starting quarterback. You know, you believe, and hey, it's hard to not believe unless they're playing an SEC team. Caleb Williams, reigning defending Heisman. You know, like you said about UCLA, might be the most dominant defensive line in college football right now. They're giving you reasons to stay up to watch the Pac-12 after dark. And I'm going to be honest, I had to go to works that Sunday after the Colorado State game. I didn't care. I stayed up to 3 o'clock in the morning, watched that whole game, was thoroughly entertained by it. Would I do it again? Absolutely. I will do it again. You know, we've got some banger matchups coming up still, and I wouldn't be shocked if 2 Pac-12 teams are in the playoffs. It would not shock me.
That's a hot take. I feel that, though. I feel that. I mean, that's the reason why I think it's must-see TV is you guys have already mentioned the quarterback play. Their quarterback play compared to every other conference is second to none. Like, you can take the 3rd and 4th best Pac-12 quarterback, throw him on the SEC, on an SEC team with those kind of stats, and he's cooking. Like, if we had that Bo Nix at Auburn, it would be a whole different story.
You're right.
A whole different story. And same thing for Shedeur. Like, a lot of people counted him out just because he played at Jackson State, but dude's been putting up numbers in that offense. And another reason why I would say is the coaches. Look at the shift of coaches at the Pac-12 level. Yeah. Now, again, this is their final year there, but when you have somebody like a Lincoln Riley, when you have a Dan Lanning, you know, you have Chip Kelly, one of the best offensive minds in college football. Those are some elite coaches over there. And I know a lot of love gets thrown around. I try to throw it everywhere around college football, but a lot of love is always thrown into SEC when it comes to coaching. But I'm more intrigued with the coaching matchups that I see at the Pac-12 versus what I see at the SEC. Because prior to what Eric is calling a dialed-in Nick Saban, which is almost blasphemy to me, but before that, you're talking about Saban being big brother to everybody. Like, it's no question, right? The only person who wanted smoke with Saban was Jimbo and Kirby low key. You know what I'm saying? And then on the East, you're like, Kirby's just smacking around the rest of these guys. So it's not nearly as intriguing as the Pac-12. Pac-12 coaching matchups, you got some of the best young offensive minds in the game getting busy over there. Too. And shout out to Kyle Whittingham, coach for Utah. He's been there forever. He's a Utah lifer. He was an assistant under Urban Meyer. And like, I'm pretty sure a bigger program has called him before. He didn't even take the call. Like, you don't see that anymore. So that's the reason why Pac-12 is definitely must-see TV. let's get into this transfer portal. We talked about some of the big acquisitions. Bear Alexander leaving Georgia. Now he's doing his thing at USC. Alabama has greatly benefited in years past from the transfer portal. Who would probably be the biggest name you would say? Jameson Williams, right? JMO. He was buried in the depth chart at Ohio State, which only speaks to the craziness of that room for him not to be getting TikTok. He goes to Alabama. He's instantly, if not he was the best wide receiver in college football. He was a game breaker. He was the man. So that just shows how great the transfer portal has been to a lot of these programs. And even Georgia, they dibble and dabble with it because we got Dom Lovett. He's doing his thing. And once Ra Thomas gets going, it's going to be a problem for a lot of teams. At least that's the way I feel. So let's talk about it. We got a number of coaches who hang their hat on this transfer portal. Hell, Coach Prime is a prime example. He wiped the slate clean with his team. He said, "How do you expect me to win with a 1-11 team?" Which is facts. And went to the portal, got his guys in there, and got busy. And now they're 3-1 as of recording this. So, Eric, I'm gonna start with you, man. Who is, in your opinion, the king of the transfer portal?
Coach
Alabama.
Saban.
Okay.
I mean, and you know, if only I had a list prepared of the guys that we got out of the portal. Oh wait, I do. Landon Dickerson from Florida State, Jameson Williams from Ohio State, which, you know, JMO doesn't get hurt, we might be talking one less natty for Georgia. But
shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Hey, no, I agree.
I'm gonna let you cook.
Injuries happen.
Yeah.
Toa from Rocky Slop. You know, you got Jameer from Tech. Tyler Steen came from Vandy, which, I mean, I don't really understand how Vandy got a 4-star recruit anyway, but hey, we'll let him cook. You know, Eli Ricks came from LSU.
LSU, yeah.
And if you want to talk about all those guys, that's a lot of money coming in on Sundays for those guys from the transfer portal. And then, I mean, you know, we've got guys on this year's team, CJ Dupree from Maryland, and then, you know,
that tight end, yeah.
I hate him.
You gotta talk about Jermaine.
I hate him.
You gotta talk about your best wide receiver.
I hate him. Don't make me talk about Jermaine Burton. Don't make me talk about Jermaine Burton.
Him. That's the best wide receiver on your team.
God, is he? That's sad. That's so sad.
Man.
Jermaine, and then even Tresman Marshall's been kind of doing the thing on defense. So I mean, I can't really be mad at Georgia for letting at least one of those two go. But yeah, I mean, like, if there's a player out there that Nick thinks is going to be, that Nick thought when he was still interested in coaching, was going to be beneficial for this Alabama squad, he'd go get him. Whatever it took. So I can't think of another squad that has really got that many talented players since the portal started, you know. I might be thinking of or missing somebody, but that's a lot of money. Like I said, a lot of money on Sundays are being made from that transfer portal for going to Alabama. So
I feel that
it's hard to say anything bad about it.
Okay, all right, Brad, man, who is your unbiased opinion? Who is the king of the portal?
I'm just going to keep it as recent, okay? I mean, we got to look at it and we got to keep it real with ourselves, right? We got Bear Alexander. We got Dorian Singer. We got Christian Roland Wallace. We got Marshawn Lloyd. Anthony Lucas. We got Mason Cobb. We got Kenyon Barnes. We end up getting the 3-star Jalil Muhammad, who has been phenomenal this season, right? Let's go back to last season. We got Mekhi Blackman. He was over there suffering in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
We got Mekhi Blackman. We picked up the #1 wide receiver in the nation in Jordan Addison. both guys are has a significant role over in Minnesota for the Vikings now, top draft picks, and a host of other players. Right now, I think that Lincoln Riley is the king of the transfer portal, and I'm gonna tell you another reason. I'll tell you why. Once the NIL started, as a USC fan, I said, "Oh man, these guys are gonna get this money. They're coming to Hollywood. We're about to get all these great recruits." And it hasn't exactly been that. We've been getting guys that want to buy into the program, be productive, and go on to be pros. And that's what Lincoln Riley has done thus far in just the 2 years he's been there. The number one transfer player he got. If we're going to count what Deion brings, we have to count Caleb Williams. He brought over Caleb Williams. We had no quarterback prior to Caleb Williams. Nobody worth mentioning, at least. And he brings over a quarterback who's now the Heisman Trophy winner, in contention for another Heisman Trophy. So I got to go with Lincoln Riley. We haven't been really slamming it on the recruiting trail, but we have been landing some very, very big key names and productive players through the transfer portal.
I feel that. I feel that. And I would agree with you that Lincoln is the king of the portal. But for the sake of conversation, I'm going to say Coach Prime is king of the portal. Because, once again, you take a 1-11 team, you clear that entire roster, and you not only add one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, somebody that you trust beyond the game type trust. You add a star safety in your son. That's what I'm saying. You adding him. And you add, arguably, by most recruiting services, the best player in college football, or the best recruit in college football, in Travis Hunter. And you bring them to Boulder, Colorado, somewhere that hasn't been relevant in 30 years. For him to be able to have strutted out a competitive team week 1 against TCU and going into these future games, that's going to be my argument, even though, initially I would definitely say Lincoln, but I would at least argue that Deion got something to say about that title. Eric, we're all friends online. Bradley, Eric, we have plenty of friends, and hopefully a majority of them listen to the podcast and they're part of the family and all that. So this is all fun and jokes. But friend of the podcast, Gary, one of the good brothers, he wanted to send a message not only to Eric, and the Alabama Crimson Tide, but to all college football. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Gary do his thing.
It's your boy Gare Bear coming back at you with another spoiler for all the college football fans around the world. I want each and every one of you to listen to me and listen to me clear. The Texas Longhorns are going to win the national championship, baby. And this is only the beginning. We're giving the SEC a preview of what's to come next year when we whoop all their asses. I'm telling you. TCU, fuck them. Oklahoma, fuck them. USC, Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, fuck them all. We're going to win because we're the best. We're the best in the world. You heard it here first. It's now time for everyone to jump up on the bandwagon and hook them horns, because the Texas Longhorns are going to win the national championship, and this is just the beginning of a dynasty that's going to last for decades to come. You heard it here first. Gerber out.
I'm not mad at that energy.
No,
shout out to Gary, man. Shout out to friend of the podcast, good brother Gary.
I'm not mad at that.
Eric, do you have any retort to said statement? Horns down. Okay.
We'll see.
He's already said next year. Schedule. He's calling smoke next year.
Hey, he thinks he's ready for an SEC schedule. So I mean, let him think that. Texas A&M thought it too. Missouri, I don't know what they were thinking, but they were thinking something.
I'll say this: Texas is lining up big time recruits, big time players big-time athletes. So they may be one of the ones that transfer over, and it really sticks.
Yeah, for sure.
Their team is competitive, but we're going to see what that quarterback do down the stretch. We're going to see what he do down the stretch.
We'll see what Arch got to talk about next year, too. Oh, yeah,
Arch ain't gonna talk about shit.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, my random question that I didn't let you all in on. Have y'all played or seen the new Mortal Kombat?
I've seen it. I have not played it.
Okay. Yeah, it's fire. It's dope. It's dope. My random question. If there was a death tournament with college football broadcasters, who would be the master, the big boss of the college football broadcast Mortal Kombat tournament?
Now, when you say broadcasters, is that anybody that has anything to do with like game day and?
I'm talking everything on the board.
Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee. Okay.
Man took a Stone Cold Stunner, bro. He's the only one that's taking a Stone Cold Stunner. So I mean,
this is
clearly
fair. This is fair. Okay.
Can I say someone who is no longer working?
Sure.
I gotta go with David Pollack, man. Love David Pollack, his insight, his information on the game. He was always great. I'm still befuddled by the firing of David Pollack. Even over Pat McAfee, I would take David Pollack.
That's fair.
And he'll be even more motivated because he's unemployed.
What he got to lose? I like that one, actually.
Yeah. My person's Gary Danielson. When I look into those cold, dead, beady eyes, I know that he's killed a man. I know it. He's got it in him. And if this was maybe 10 years ago, I would probably throw Corso in there. But Gary Danielson's my man.
If they do like a tag team, like, sometimes you can do the tag teams in Mortal Kombat. Would their fatality be listening to him and Vern call a SEC game? Because that's almost killed me before.
He would summon the spirit of Vern Lundquist. He would
Finish him.
have the dragon snatch your head off. That would be Vern Lundquist just clearing your shit.
Calling other people's teams different names. And
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I'm with you now. I'm with you.
We love you, Vern. We love you.
No,
You're a part of my childhood. I'll forever appreciate it. All right, so let's get into these game day picks, fellas. We got 4 games. That all these games aren't this weekend. They're through the month of October. Reason why I did that is because we only meet once a month, and I kind of want to spread it out. Just for bragging purposes, I'm going to go ahead and put the standings on for the listeners. David went undefeated last go-around, 4-0. And it's followed by a whole bunch of 3-win guys. You two are included in that. And at the bottom, it's me and Greg with 2 wins. I should have bet Prime. Let's get to this first game. This first game is happening this weekend. You got the USC Trojans traveling to Boulder, Colorado. Colorado's coming off of this loss, coming off of what I can definitely say has been a super hype train from a week ago. And this week, they're fielding a whole bunch of hate, a whole bunch of critique, a whole bunch of long dissertations about certain things. Who are you picking? USC versus Colorado.
I'm going to SC. I don't think Colorado looks as bad as they looked the previous week. I think they're going to have some extra added motivation, which I love and I hate because I want them to be super competitive against us. Because again, this challenge is us, but at the same time, I wanted them to be complacent coming into this game so we could really smack them around. I'm going to go USC. I think we're going to hang up 50. I think they may do 21-28. Okay. I think we're going to give them a 50 burger.
Heard. Eric, what's your pick?
I got USC, and this ain't even close. I'm with you on the 50 burger, but I don't think they're going to put up 21 on y'all. Not without Travis Hunter. You saw how lethargic that offense looked without Travis. They double teamed Horn pretty much the whole game, and that nullified it. And I think again, because of the hype train and because you had back-to-back games against top 10 teams essentially. Maybe even theoretically, with the way that it's been going, I could make an argument for both being in the top 4. Lincoln's going to have a point to prove, just like Dan Lanning had a point to prove, like you said, and I don't think it's going to be pretty. And I think they're going to have to go back to the drawing board. But at least it doesn't get worse from here. Like you're facing
still got to go to Utah.
That's fine. Man. Florida hung with Utah, but
But I hear you.
Yeah, the hype train's gonna piss people off, and it clearly pissed Dan Lanning off.
Yeah. All right.
I just hope Lincoln doesn't say anything going into the week, taking any shots. Leave it alone. Let's stay focused on a national championship and playing our game. Forget all that fluff. Forget his prime time. Let's go in there and compete and show them who we are. Fight on.
I feel that. I'm agreeing with you two gentlemen. I do think USC wins and covers. The concerns that I had prior to kickoff, the season kicking off, is starting to come to fruition. I said they have some good players, but behind those good players, it's a little shaky. It's a little suspect. You got more so backups, guys that were backups on other teams. Like that starts to add up. College football, guys are going to get hurt. Guys are going to get injured. That's the name of the game. That's part of the reason why you have the teams on that upper level being able to recruit at such a level and maintain whatever they got going on because of that depth. And you're starting to see that with Colorado. So I think this is going to be a rough one, man. I think that USC wins, USC covers. Maybe Colorado starts off a little hot on a drive or two, but then talent is going to win this game, and that's USC. All right, next game, we got the Crimson Tide visiting good old Jimbo and Texas A&M. Eric, who's your winner and why?
Which Alabama team shows up? That's pretty
fair
much
point.
That's where I'm at. On paper, it should be us. It should be us probably by at least 2 touchdowns. But game's not played on paper. It's played on the field. And if the team that played South Florida that shows up in College Station, which has been our kryptonite for years, all the way back to Money Manziel, like, it's been hard to get a dub in College Station, but it could be do or die for Jimbo this year, regardless of how much they're paying him. I mean, because they said last year, well, not they, but the internet rumor and speculation was that Jimbo still had a job because they were paying him an ass ton of money. But how many 3, 4, 5 win seasons can you justify, even though you are paying him an ass ton of money? I mean, look at the Plains. Auburn's paying like 72 head coaches right now still because they can't get a winner. I want to say us. I'm gonna say us because I can't not pick us. But hell, I don't know. I'm worried about Mississippi State right now. Let's be for real.
Y'all are taking care of Mississippi State, man.
Shit.
Brett, what's your pick, man? You got Bama or you got Texas A&M?
I'm gonna go with Bama here. One thing about Saban is this: he defeat his foes, like you say. And Jimbo has smoke for Saban, but Saban does send that reminder out, like, my friend, chill out. So
you're saying he gonna big brother him?
if anything, this may be one of Alabama's best games of the year. And in fact, they may play so well that everybody's going to say Alabama's back, that they may go back to what Eric is afraid of. So I got Bama beating Texas A&M.
Okay.
I'll send you a care package if we do that, brother.
All right, so both of you guys are picking Alabama. I gotta go with the Aggies on this one, y'all. I gotta go with the Aggies. Bama has been very suspect on the offensive end. Defensive end, they've been rolling. And like I said, Eric, before, I've even said offline, I would be happy with what Kevin Steele has at least provided you guys, which is some form of stability. And even with that game against USF, where y'all were in that rock fight with them, your defense did a really good job of holding it down.
Yep.
Because that game should have went another way. You know, if USF had a little bit more talent on that team, y'all would have lost that game. But
100%.
the defense did their job. Dallas Turner, he's been balling out, especially last week. He did his thing against Ole Miss. Like, he's starting to take himself up a notch. But with all that being said, it's something about playing there at College Station for Alabama. We've seen it. We've seen upsets in College Station. I personally like what Petrino's been doing with that Texas A&M offense. And even though right now at the time of recording, Max Johnson is that quarterback, you give Max Johnson a week or two to get acclimated as to what's going on, and that offense could be clicking still. So they have weapons on the outside. I still kind of question some of those DBs at Alabama, except for Malachi. I love him. Malachi Moore is a baller, but the other guys are a little suspect to me. So I got Texas A&M with the upset. All right. Next game, the Red River Shootout. We got Oklahoma, who's been rolling. They haven't really played anybody, but they're rolling nonetheless. And we got Texas. Texas went into Tuscaloosa. They did the impossible, and they beat Alabama's ass, a lot of us can say. So Texas on a run, trying to make a playoff appearance and trying to get a national championship, just like Gary said. So let's go ahead and pick that game. I'm going to start off with you, Brad. Who's going to win, the Sooners or the Longhorns?
So this may be that early season loss that Texas takes, but still gets them in the playoffs. I don't know if anybody's been paying attention to that quarterback and those receivers at Oklahoma, but my goodness, they added Andrell Anthony from Michigan, of course, and man, he's been balling, stretching the field. I call them 3-4-5 because they're all one's number 3, one's number 4, and one's number 5. So 3-4-5 for Oklahoma's been balling, and their quarterback is a Heisman dark horse as well. I still don't believe that Texas quarterback is the real deal.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm going to give Oklahoma the upset here.
Okay.
I'm going to give them the upset, man. I'm going to go Oklahoma. I know, Gary, you're my brother, man, but look, 3-4-5 is dangerous.
Okay.
I would be shocked if Texas stops those wide receivers.
Okay.
Alabama doesn't hand out losses to just anybody. You know,
Good point. Very
we make
good point.
you earn those wins. And 9 times out of 10, I expect you guys to take those wins and go forth. You know, Georgia has done it. A&M's the only one pretty much that hasn't. And Tennessee, I guess, last year.
Mm-hmm.
You beat us in Tuscaloosa. So, Gary, this one's for you, brother. If y'all do not beat Oklahoma, I got nothing for you anymore, brother. You beat us at home, which is rare. It's more rare than beating Alabama, is beating us at home.
That's
you
right.
walked into Tuscaloosa, in a night game,
Yeah.
and you whooped our ass. So you better go into the Red River Shootout And you better look Oklahoma right in their eyes, and you better put up a 50-burger. And you better get a dub. Or
that's a fact.
I ain't going to let you hear the end of it.
I feel that. I feel that. Last year, Texas scrubbed up Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout. I expect some more of what happened last year. I got Texas winning. I got Texas winning big. The line of scrimmage is a wonderful tool in college football. And Texas, right now, on both sides of the ball, they're doing their thing. And I see them dominating Oklahoma. So I got Texas winning that. Okay, last game. The Oregon Ducks, they just came off of a, I wouldn't say monumental. I wouldn't say that. They came off of a good program win, a good performance, beating Colorado. And Washington's been rolling also. You got two of the best quarterbacks in the nation, not named Caleb Williams, going back and forth. Hopefully we get a wonderful shootout. But I want to know who's going to win this. Eric, is it going to be the Oregon Ducks or the Washington Huskies that come out the victor?
It's a lot of amazing quarterback play is going to happen on the field. I think the winner is all of us that actually watch the game, because it might be one of the games of the year. And we'll be saying that a lot about the Pac-12 this year, and we already have. As far as the winner, I don't believe. I know you do, Adrian, but we've seen what Oregon does on the big stage, at least. Well, we've seen what Bo Nix does on the big stage.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a very close game. It's going to come down to last possession, but I think I've got Washington. That might be Oregon's one loss that can still somehow propel them into the playoffs. Or the Pac-12 can go any way this year, but
yeah, it can.
It's the most interesting football that's being played right now. But I got Washington in a very, very close one. Gotcha.
Okay, I like that, Brad. What you got, man? Out of your Pac-12 foes, who's gonna win?
USC is gonna win. No, I have Washington winning. One thing that I noticed about Bo Nix is this: if you get at him, rough that kid up, he's nothing. He's absolutely nothing. And I think Washington knows that. I think Washington will be prepared for that. And I think Washington has the offensive weapons to trump that Oregon defense. They have two phenomenal receivers. Their quarterback is playing at a super elite level. I have Washington here. I don't see a case where Oregon can win, to be honest.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna go against the grain with this one on you guys, and I'm definitely gonna go Oregon. Last year's game, literally the only reason why they lost was Bo Nix got hurt, and Dan Lanning forgot how to coach for like one whole minute, and that cost them against Washington. I think Oregon has made the improvements defensively, especially bringing in somebody like Jordan Birch from South Carolina. Uyangale's brother is a freshman on the defensive line. He's starting to come into his own as a defensive end. I think Oregon brings the fight to Washington and beats them at home. I got Oregon winning in this wonderful matchup. All right, so we're going to keep track of those throughout the month. And next month's Roundtable, I'll update the standings for the listeners. So, fellas, we've reached the end of the podcast, man. How do y'all feel?
I feel good. I cannot wait for us to play Colorado. Again, my wishes is that Lincoln Riley does not feed into the media hype, any of the mudslinging, any of the sideways comments. Let's come out and perform. I'm a fan. I want us to win a national championship. I don't care about another Heisman with Caleb. I don't care that we got Lincoln Riley and Southern Cal. I want a national championship. That's all I want. I want us working towards it. I want us dominating, and that's all I want. So I feel good about this week. None of the mudslinging. Let's get back to business. Fight on.
I feel that.
Hell
Eric,
yeah.
what about you, bro?
I don't have that kind of energy right now about my squad, but damn, Brad, I'm here. Look, I don't even like USC, and I'm over here ready to start doing the. I feel better. I got
Good.
the bad stuff off my chest.
Yeah, man.
I still think that I'm gonna have a lot more to get off my chest, but
Y'all are 1-0. Y'all are 1-0 in the SEC West.
look,
That's all that matters. One game at a time.
when we run the table, beat Georgia in the SEC title game, get to the Natty, win another one, and Saban goes off into the sunset, we'll all just look back on this podcast and laugh about
I like
Eric
that.
overreacted to everything like he always does. You know. Or when we're in the Tax Slayer Bowl, we'll just look back at it and be like, damn, Eric was right.
Eric was spot on.
Yo, we're listen. Me and Eric sound like we're so thirsty for our team to come back to prominence and win a national championship. Like that's the consensus between the two of us.
It's only been 3 years, but I feel like it's been forever.
Y'all been spoiled, man. Y'all have been
and that's
spoiled.
the one thing. Like, I hate it because our fan base is so freaking spoiled. And I remember the Mikes, the Prices, the Shulas, the all of them. So I don't take for granted what Nick Saban did, and I know it might come off that way, but I just expect better of this program after everything that we've put together over the last 20 years. So I don't want to come off spoiled, but maybe I am a little bit.
But roll tide.
Roll Tide, Paul.
If you haven't already, look us up on socials at Suplex Dinner Club. That's the home of 2 podcast projects that I work on. Mondays, Fridays, we talk college football on Dogs versus All Y'all. We don't just talk about Georgia football. We talk about all things college football, hence All Y'all. And on Wednesdays, you know the vibes, Life and Times Pod, which is short for the Life and Times of a Restaurant Lifer podcast, where I have conversations with some cool and interesting people that I've met through my years in the hospitality industry. Let me know down below, what team are you representing? The Suplex Dinner Club family is growing, and I want to know more about you guys. All right, well, gentlemen, like I said again, man, I really appreciate y'all spending a little time with us to talk college football. We all love it. As the listeners could tell, both of y'all are passionate fans. Before you go, let the people know where they can find you.
I'm on Twitter, because it's still Twitter. At EJ423X. Let's talk college football. Let's talk NFL. Let's talk about how Sauce Gardner's a crybaby. Let's talk about Taylor Swift. You know, let's just talk.
What's Taylor Swift's and Travis Kelce's couple name? What's their benefer?
We thought about that today. I do have a list of names that I was talking to my doctor about today. I'll try them out on you guys. The biggest thing about the NFL weekend was, you know, Miami dropped 70 points, and all anybody could talk about was Taylor Swift.
Right.
I've got Keller, Kelor.
Okay.
I've got Tacey, Swiftsy, Trailer. Trailer could be a good one. Swiftsy's the winner. I like Swiftsy.
That's the winner. That's the winner.
And my doctor popped back with Tavis.
Tavis is good. I played football with the Tavis.
Okay.
Swiftsy.
Yeah, shout out to him.
I'm here for Swiftsy, though.
I like Swifty.
Yeah,
you heard it here on this podcast first.
Brad, man, let the people know where can they find you, and again, plug the podcast.
Yes, so the Black Supernova, I am on Instagram. You can follow me there. We can talk, again, college football, comics, collectibles. That's my whole bag. So I am there on Instagram, the Black Supernova. Also, you can find me every Thursday morning, All Marks Pod. That's All Marks Pod, dedicated to the Marks and professional wrestling podcast. Lastly, Heroes After Dark, the YouTube channel, Heroes After Dark. We also have an Instagram page as well. It is the premier comic channel. We talk all things comics. We show off our weekly hauls, and just have a a live, round discussion, and we're having cover battles too. So check out our cover battles.
Yeah, I like that cover battle. Definitely. Well, listeners, thank you again for checking us out. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend of college football. I will holler at you on Monday with a quick reaction recap. And, of course, we got to update the hunting season 12 and see the movers and shakers. Who are the 12 best teams in the nation? We're going to discuss it. So y'all have a wonderful week. Take care of each other. And as always, go Dogs.
Your ass is prepared for this shit for fucking 365 days. I think about the fuckers in that locker room. Think about getting our opportunity. All the shit you went through this week to get ready for this game, now is when you pay the fucking price. You go out there with energy, enthusiasm. Hey, nobody's going to be cautious. Ain't nobody going to be nervous about shit. Go out here and fuck their ass up. Don't think about scoreboard. Don't think about shit. You think about knocking the shit out of them. Did you hear what Box said on Monday? When I sat in that fucking meeting, I wanted to go fucking play right then. Tore your shit up out here. 2 years ago, fuck your shit up. Goddamn pride and joy. Tell me you fuck these guys up. You go play the right way. You play the right way. You knock their ass off. You stay off the fucking ground. You tackle the fucking man with the ball. The shit's easy. Look at the right shit. Punish their ass on offense and kick their ass on special teams, guys. It's about who the fuck we are. I believe in you. Let's go. Hell